Hi. I said I might pop my head in to see you before I left for the evening.
Oh yes. I was thinking about you. How did the meeting with the principal go?
I feel more confused than I did before we met.
Why is that? What did she say about the student data?
As we looked at available data on my students at this time of year, in my opinion, there is not much to go on.
Did you look at the DRA2 data as you expected?
Sure. But the data available now are not up to date. So it does not show the growth yet since the fall.
What about math data?
Well, I have plenty to look at from my own math class, including standards-based formative and summative assessments. But of course, most of them are not in my class.
Did she offer some solutions for tweezing out the thorny accountability issue at stake here?
I asked.
And?
It got kinda awkward. There was a lot of shuffling of papers. She tried to explain the accountability formula she has been told to use by the district data gurus.
Can you try to explain?
I will give it a go. Here goes. You start by adding all the growth points allocated from test data from each student. This data is compared with the state average growth rate for a typical student for the year to determine those points. Still with me so far?
Possibly. Go on. I'm trying to take it all in.
Then you find the average growth for all students in your grade level, including students who are on IEPs, ILPs and ESL students regardless of their English proficiency. The result is then allocated to each class, and added to get an overall class score.
Did you all have balanced classes at the start of the year, so that this is even a remotely fair allocation for the class as a whole? On second thoughts, ignore that question, it is an asinine question. Go on.
So, accepting this is a fair allocation for classroom teachers in the mix, which is a big assumption, the formula adds in more layers of confusion.
I'm intrigued to see what else should or could be factored in.
So, the next factor is the number of years each teacher has been teaching. I have been teaching 2 years, so the number of students in the grade is multiplied by 2, and then divided by the number of students in my class, to give my student growth coefficient. In my case, that is about 8.
Okay. Go on. I'm hanging in there.
If I had been teaching 10 years, and do the same calculation with approximately the same number of students, my student growth coefficient comes out at about 40.
What happens with the student growth coefficient?
It gets added to the average class score, to give it a weighted index score WI. My student growth WI is then added to the other points I have earned on my teacher evaluation rubric. If I cross the minimum threshold, I survive another year, and move on to the next year of evaluation cycle.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. This is what I understand from what you have just told me. Based on the limited data available at this time of year, you have been allocated student scores as an average for the grade level, regardless if you taught them or not. Then some experience factor is figured in. It doesn't matter if you are a better or worse teacher than your experienced colleagues, this experience coefficient is used. Then the generated weighted index score is attached to the existing score you have been allocated on a teacher's standards rubric.
Right.
Absolutely no room for misuse or abuse in that process then.
But here is an additional interesting wrinkle, for me at least. I was asked to use the evaluation rubric to evaluate myself following my 4 observations, and, before the meeting today, there are 5 standards which range from knowledge of subjects and pedagogy, to communication skills, ability to work effectively with a team, to one's loyalty to, and support of, the district.
Interesting, go on.
I had to score myself on a scale of 1 to 4, on multiple substandards, for each of the 5 standards. My scores were largely accepted the way I scored myself. There were a few changes made only by my principal. As a rational and reflective person, I understand that I am a new teacher, and am not proficient in all areas yet. So, and here is where my anxiety lies. I was hard on myself.
What does this mean for your overall evaluation score?
She has not given me my final score yet. The data we were able to use at this time of year was thin on the ground. She said that she would have to ask a few more questions from the data and planning department at the district.
What was she hoping to learn from them, do you think?
I guess she likes me as a teacher. Her body language would suggest that this is the case. I think she might be asking whether her scores can override the scores generated by the teacher proficiency formula she has been told to use.
Will it all come down to the scores she gives you on the evaluation rubric then, do you think?
I don't know. As I said, I am more confused than I was before the meeting, about whether I will be still employed in the district next year.
You seem discouraged, my friend. This is sad to see. I know that you work hard, and you have a great relationship with those kids.
Thanks for your support. I think I will head home now, and try and get my pile of grading done. I wish I had sufficient data to prove whether I am a good teacher or not. You know. For my own peace of mind, don't work too hard yourself this evening. Life is just too short for all this worry.
Why do you think I'm a janitor? Good night, my friend.
Good night.